Hey everyone, welcome to the Love Your Body podcast. On today's episode, we have a special guest. But before I introduce her, I just want to say a quick shout out to our sponsor, Michael Dyer, who is a Nashville native. He is a realtor. He is my brother. He sold me my amazing house that my guest actually just got to come to. So we're going to talk about a little bit about that in a second. But yeah, super grateful for him. And just again, if anyone is looking to purchase a home, it can be very overwhelming, very frustrating. And he was just very easy going with the process, got things done in a timely manner. So if you're interested in the bio in today's episode, you can reach out to him. But yeah, and tell him I sent you. All right, so on today's episode, we have Katie Long, who is my client, and I'm just so happy to have you today, Katie.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks, Dani.
I was gonna say, and like the best listener of the podcast, like the most listened on there. It's like you're right there. No, so tell me, and tell everyone listening, kind of like, what got you started with wanting to start a healthy lifestyle journey? What was kind of that process, and how's it going so far? Like all the things.
Yeah, sure. So let's see. Grew up like literally on the farm and stuff, so always had a connection with movement and getting things done and that kind of thing, and like functional movement, if you will. And then did sports and stuff all through high school and college.
What kind of sports was it?
Well, a variety, but like tennis, volleyball, mostly.
Okay.
I'd like to say I played a little bit of golf, but not really like in high school or college. I like to golf now. Not well, but it's fun to chase the ball.
Is it though? Is it?
I mean,
I don't know. That's not that top golf like twice. Like
it's fun.
Yeah.
Top golf is fun.
I'm not good at any of that stuff, but okay, keep going.
So did that, and then after I'm a nurse, so a lot of you run around all day in the hospital and get moving that way, moving patients and so forth and stuff. And I always off and on, I think, struggled with weight and just, it would like come and go, so forth. But I was never like, a gym rat, if you will, quote unquote, or somebody that spent a lot of time in the gym because I just found other ways to move. And then after being a nurse for so long, like I still kind of, as I got older, I saw kind of weight get on, come on, and just not feeling as energetic and stuff. And
what kind of nurse were you? Or like what kind of, have you been like multiple different like fields, or has it been the same? Like what's that been like?
Yeah, I did a lot of work in the hospital, so, a charge nurse, a lot of different variety of floors. So some like med surg and ortho and inpatient rehab and neuro. It's been kind of all over the board.
So schedule's always been kind of crazy, like in terms of, you never just had like a set schedule. Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean,
keeps exciting.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
Some people like it, I guess. So it was good. And then I transitioned not too long ago to more like clinical informatics in nursing. So for lack of a better description, it's like IT nursing. So I consider myself like a translator, like a liaison between like true like IT people that can make things work and then like clinicians.
I love how excited you're getting just talking about it. It's beautiful to see.
It's my niche.
Yeah,
sure,
I love that.
So now that's more like, corporate world, right? Like business hours, and bankers hours and stuff, and way more sedentary and those kinds of things.
Okay.
And again, you kind of like see over time, like just like you not moving as much and like doing the things and like small things becoming hard. And you and I have talked about this, but I found myself at moments going, oh my gosh, Kitty, do you want to walk down this flight of stairs to put laundry in the washer or dryer? And like the effort that it would take to do those kinds of things.
Right.
So it was last summer, 2022. What year it is.
Right.
2022, last summer, where I actually took a trip to, I saw some friends in Texas and stuff. And honestly, like something happened there. And I just basically decided, like, do I want to invest in myself, or do I want to just continue living what I'm doing and progressing down a path that's just where I'm not going to be able to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so, therefore, I started looking at personal trainers and stuff and those kinds of things. Because I was like, I know I need somebody to help me in this process. And I started calling around to a couple places and Next Level, and then got in
And
touch with you.
For those who don't know, Next Level is where I train out of, all my in-person clients. So if you're watching on Instagram or anything like that and you see me tagging them and everything like that's the space. And it's a private personal training studio. So it is really different than any other gym. And I always try to even say to people it's like a studio, not a gym, because you can't just have people coming in. It's a safe environment, and that's why, I've always really loved it.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, again, it's a lot of personalities, a lot of dynamics and things like that. But because, we have more male trainers and then, as well. But we all run our businesses out of there separately. So it's a nice little space and everything like that. And it's the largest one in Nashville, which is good too. But we got in touch that way. And I want to know the kind of first, you came in. Coming in hot. What happened? How'd you feel first session? All that.
Yeah. So our phone call was really good. I felt like an instant connection. It was like, all right, this stranger that I don't even know, understands what I'm saying, listens to what I had to say, gets where I'm coming from, and just was very relatable to me. So fast forward. It wasn't even that long later because you're like, all right, we'll see you in 2 days. And I'm like, we're doing this.
I was like, we're getting on the schedule now.
So I show up, and of course, there's nerves and stuff. You don't. I don't know the equipment. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm showing up. I know I'm super out of shape, and you were super energetic, of course, and just you just met me in that spot. So we did an assessment and so forth, and I was not surprised at how out of shape I was, but also man, Katie, you gotta, there's some stuff.
Yeah. The thing is that's why I literally do the same type of assessment for every client, no matter if they are smaller body, larger body, older, younger, anything, right? Because I want to see these fundamental movements, in the functional fitness, getting up from one knee, things that we should know how to do and do efficiently and effectively and can advance it and things like that. And everyone's favorites negative push-ups and and all the good stuff. But yeah. And so, again, meeting you where you're at, it was not hard to do. You know what I mean? That is just kind of the part that I love about a new client. And I enjoy, because again, it's everyone's so different. It's exciting. So I definitely loved our first session, and like we talked about before, how even just walking in, you can tell your demeanor has changed even from the very first time you walked in to now.
Oh, for sure.
And so it is great. But yeah, so tell me if for those who do follow on Instagram and stuff, and then we just did we went sticker blasting, and y'all went. They just happened to be there, so I just saw them out in Nashville. Just crazy how that happens. And then we met, on Broadway, and I did this whole Love Your Body initiative about what do you love about your body, and asked random people, and was super excited about that. But I had my ambassadors and some clients come, and Katie was one of them. So what I asked you, what you love about your body, what did you say?
I said my smile.
Okay, and I love that. So do you think that I don't know, even what was it, 8 months ago or whenever you first started, do you feel like there was anything that you loved about your body? Do you feel like you were in what was kind of your headspace with all of that? Because I know you had the intention of, you said you're out of shape and you wanted to get fit and, you want to be healthy. But your self-image, what was that like?
Oh, it was terrible.
Okay.
I remember the first time you asked me. It was, I don't think it was the first session, although you asked me a lot of questions the first session, which is great. I was excited about that. But it was shortly thereafter, that question of what do you love about your body, and I was taken aback. I remember pausing, and it kind of jolts you, right? Shocks you a little bit. It really makes you consider, what do I love about my body? What do I love about myself, and do I?
Right. Yeah.
And so my mindset,
all those questions,
all the things, the 10,000 things start going through your head because you want to be honest about it.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't much. I mean, I was able to say, maybe intellectually and not physically.
I think you exactly said that. You were like, well, my I don't even know if it was not perseverance, but it was like it was something mentally, like, you know, like, and how you looked at it and that approach. And now I think you're starting to find that love, you know, for yourself and the appreciation versus like putting that aside of like, yeah, like I could be the smartest in the room, or, you know, at my job, I'm really great at this. It's like all these like characteristics that are great, but truly like something you love about yourself.
No, yeah. I mean, I think the worth factor has definitely dramatically changed.
Yeah.
In really a short amount of time. But that's been, I don't know, a consistent like thing that you implement in like every single session that you don't even realize is happening. It's all that mindset stuff that's continually happening. I mean, something simple as like you said, like the way I walked into the gym. I mean, you'd be like, hey, Katie, like, you know, stand up straight, pick your head up, put your shoulders back. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like you think at first that's like something you're doing physically to help X, Y, and Z. And you'll explain like the physiology behind it and the why behind it. But really it's more that mindset that's really behind there.
Yeah.
And it's really powerful.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And again, you know, it has been really beautiful watching your journey and stuff. But I will say, like, I don't know. It's so funny. Like when I'm looking back at everything and just like how far things have come, you know, what I've noticed about you is that like you really have taken to how the brand, like, and understood it. Because there's some people that I think just like, you know, and that's fine. Like they come, they work out, they go home, whatever, right? But like you truly are like, I'm in it. I'm here for it. Like anything that can help me be my best self. And, you know, and that's been really cool from listening to this podcast to drinking fight, you know, and having our fight slushes and like, you know, and just everything. And it's been really special to see. So tell me what has been like your favorite movement that you've done so far, like exercise. Like what's kind of your?
I don't think I even realized like when you start to kind of, not that I lift super heavy yet, but as you start to like lift heavier and do some of those things where you're like, oh, by the way, that was X amount of pounds, and you're like, oh, all right,
yeah,
okay, I guess it was. So I don't know if I have like a favorite movement because I feel like they're all purposeful and have intent behind them, and to get you to be able to do some bigger things that are, you're like, oh, that's sweet.
Oh, yeah. So deadlifts. It all comes back to deadlift.
I mean,
no, it is cool. So for them to understand kind of like in sessions and things like that, like when you are talking about the mindset is driven behind. So, you know, I guess kind of explain to them, because, you know, I try to explain all the time like how I am, you know, and I'm like, it's really clear, you know, it's really clear, and then people still don't understand. So in your own words, Katie, how would you like to explain?
Oh, Dani. I mean,
you can say whatever you want. She's not being paid to be here. She can say whatever she wants.
Absolutely not. I would tell you. No. Oh gosh, that's a hard question. Just because
free fight for life.
Kind of like,
if you say something nice.
In that case,
I'm just kidding. I would go.
You can't afford me.
No, I
can't. Go broke.
2 cancers a week. I'm just kidding.
I think the serving size is 1 serving a day.
Right. I don't know who put that on the label. Because, I mean, really, how can you have too many vitamins? Like,
I don't know. Look at us.
Anyway.
But, I mean, I feel like you're somebody that you kind of like have to be experienced, if you will. But you, first of all, I think you are really good, and I don't know if it's ingrained into you or like just this God-given gifting, or if this is intentional, or both, but you remember details about things, about your clients. And so that helps. So like conversations that we've had, you'll be like, hey, what about X, Y, and Z? Those kind of things that help build that mindset and stuff, because you have somebody in your corner that you know sees you in those moments. You also ask a lot of really direct questions about, you know, how's nutrition going, what's going, like you're seeing the whole dynamic of what's going on like at work and stuff, and in your family and in your personal life, because all those things impact, you know, stress and like how you're reacting and
100%
what's going on. So I think it's a lot of little things. But then you also at the same time, like, we have fun. Like, I mean, 15-minute sessions, I'm like, I'm a sweaty mess.
They always go by so fast, and I'm like, dadgummit. Like, we didn't even talk about, like, the video that was set, or, you know, or something like that or whatever. And I'm like, dang. But no, and that's like, Well, it's so funny because, like, even with Ashley and stuff too, and a few of my other clients, like, that I see regularly 3 times a week, and and sometimes more. But like, it's like they always go by so quick, but it's exciting, it's fun, it's you all make it easy for me, and you add so much positivity, and which is really special because there's so many people that even though like we're all going through stuff. We're all
100%.
going through stuff. But
Hello,
to come
life.
to come in there and be like, I'm going to like for this 50 minutes, like I'm going to not even try to change my mindset. Like I'm going to change my mindset. I'm going to be in here. I'm going to take up space. I'm going to lift. I'm going to do things, like that's what's so cool to see, with you guys and with my clients in general is just that like that growth, and some people
Yeah.
get it faster than others. Some people, it takes them longer, but again, the whole reason I ask you these guys, like all of you, these things about like your nutrition, your family, all these things matter and it's not separate. And I think so many people are like, okay, work out, look good, eat better, like, cause whatever, or this or that. There's so like segments of things where it's like, no, it should be all in one, that holistic triangle. That I always talk about. But yeah, so in terms of, with the Love Your Body initiative and stuff, like, how did you feel like in terms of that, like the Christmas party, like community wise, like everybody pretty cool, you vibing, like what's kind of in your
Good segue.
I know.
No, I was actually just going to talk about the community that of your Dani D fitness people. I mean, in the the Instagram community that you've built, I mean, they're just beautiful women, right? And they're all real and just talk about stuff they're going through, and it's such a nice escape to be able to just put on there and have other people understand because they're walking through some of the same stuff
For sure.
and then you start making those connections because people are like-minded. So even though you may be working towards different goals, like you're still working on something.
You also have that common thread. Like I told this to someone else the other day, but you all are so different ages. Because someone had said something about them being young or younger than everyone. It's like, again, you all have the whole notion that you just want to love yourself. Like simply, it could be because the doctor said you need to come in. It could be because somebody else said, or it was the moment where you were in Texas and that happened in a moment that you wanted to be your best self. Like all these different things that led you here, but for that purpose.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like a lot of communities have that, like as the root. It's like we're all just trying to look good, or we're all just trying to be like this, or look good on Instagram, or this or that, or whatever, or you know what I mean, or just follow in suit of, I don't know, right?
Yeah, I think in other areas it's I guess more superficial. There's a lot more depth. I feel like with these women and men, but on the Instagram profile is women, which is I think that's really good because obviously it's a different dynamic if you add a guy in there for sure.
For sure. Love them too, but
sure. I mean, there's community outside of that, but
yes,
but no, it's really encouraging. And then you start to build those relationships with those people and stuff too. And I'm newer to the Nashville area. I came January 2022, so just been over a year.
Yeah.
Now, and so it's been nice to even have like those relationships with these women that I'll go do stuff with now, and and be able to like reach out to and encourage each other. And I mean, even just seeing somebody come in, like they're not overlapping really, but like you see the next person coming. And they'll be like warming up and stuff. And it does something to know that like consistently you're going to see another person coming in that's fighting for the same thing that you're fighting for what they want, loving their body throughout, and just getting their movement in too. So you're like, all right, like I got this. And then you see them like lift heavy and you just like, yeah, man, like that's freaking sweet.
Yeah. And you're really great about that, about encouraging because, some people, especially like with the challenge, Gear Movement and Challenge, that you're also doing, like, and these are women who are from, and men, but women in the group that are from different states and stuff that are not clients. There's some clients, there's non-clients as well. But, so people that we've never met in real life and all these things, whatever. But, you always lift them up or tend to even just celebrate or like their stuff. And people don't realize that goes a long way. Like, and with them, it's not like you have to see them or you'll ever see them in real life. We don't know,
Right.
But it's still so special. And that's what I've always tried to do with anybody, with, anything that we have going on, is to show that they're worth something and what they're saying is valid, because sometimes they don't have anyone else to talk to.
Yeah.
They don't have anyone else, and I know how that feels. And I mean, I think you can, empathize with that too. So it's just one of those things where that's what's so beautiful about it versus, because I know some people on the challenge are kind of like competitive against other people, like, oh, I need to be doing better because she got out here. I'm like, no, you need to look at what you're doing. That's great that, so-and-so is like walking the dog every day. Like, that's awesome. But again, like, you weightlifted, and did your regimen just great this week too. You know what I mean? Like, so again, it's not that you couldn't go walk the dog every day. It's just that that's not in your current regimen and you're focused on this, and we all have different physical goals and endurance and stuff like that, and with the challenge. So it can be kind of hard when you put a bunch of women together and they feel like, they've been competitive a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a level of good competition in a friendly manner, but also that's never what you drive home.
Yeah.
And, like, anything that I've seen you do, it's always been like we celebrate each other for like what's going on. Which is awesome. Like, we should. And we should do that as women more, frankly.
Right.
Just in general.
Yeah. Because you never know what someone's going through. And because somebody will look at a certain client and be like, oh, I don't understand why they work out, or they'll be like, oh, like, I don't know why so-and-so, or like, oh, they're good. And it's like, I hate hearing that. That was on this last podcast that I did, last week or whatever, about like how I continually hear like, okay, I'm good now. Right. Versus but no, seriously. And I think that is, again, society selling you on this idea that like once you get there, like we're going to go to Cancun, have some Mai Tais and just chill.
I promise you will go back to your old habits.
Yes, exactly. Because that's what it is. It's creating a healthy lifestyle regimen. And so that's where the whole techniques about like loving your body and things like that, like it's like those routines, is the way you look at yourself, the way you see yourself, like all of that drives to you, like becoming your best self, but it drives you to actually see yourself. So when you are at the weight you've always wanted to be at, or the size you wanted to be at, or whatever it might be, your goals, you can be like, yeah, like this is great. I appreciate this. But also I appreciate that girl 50 pounds ago, 60 pounds ago, who was sweating on the Stairmaster, you know what I mean? And could only do 10 floors or whatever, right?
For sure.
And that is the beautiful moments I think some people are trying to get past and get through so quickly. And it's like, you got to ride it. Like, you got to ride that wave because you have to build, those things up. And for me, it's like, I don't know. I feel like whenever I look at my clients, like I never have a set goal for you guys. Like, I'm never like, okay, yeah, so when you get to this weight, like, you're good. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, for sure. It's never come out of your mouth.
Right? Like,
not even remote. Not even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
never in that area.
And so it's bizarre to me that that's still kind of like an idea or an ideation that people want to vibe with.
Yeah.
You know
I think
what I mean?
that's one of the things that makes you so relatable is that you've done a lot of things.
Yeah.
Strongman, bodybuilding,
etc. Have we done a lot of things? Looking back at videos, like throwing it back, like videos I haven't even seen in my phone from like years ago. Like, shoot, I did that. Like, but again, that's why I say take the videos, take the pictures, remember these things because it's so special and so cool to see. But like that, because again, you can do, with working out with that, like even from, I think it was over Christmas or whatever, you did some workouts on your own, like at your gym, and you felt comfortable enough to do that. Like, that was super cool, right?
Yeah,
so it's like that's a part of it too, of like figuring out like, being confident in a space, and then now you're like a regular at your work gym. So you got
I am a regular. Yeah.
How does that feel?
No, it's good. I had a guy that I see in there all the time. And anyway, he saw me outside of, and the company I work for is very, very large, and there's multiple buildings and stuff and so forth. And so anyway, we had passed each other, and we weren't in the gym. We were like, just like, I was walking through a building, and he was like, "Hey, like, I know you from the gym." He was blah blah blah, and we introduced ourselves, and it was nice, a nice guy. And he was like, "Yeah, you're a regular. Like, I see you there all the time," and that was super encouraging.
Yeah,
because I'm like,
just like take that in.
I am a regular. Man.
Yeah.
You're right. I am. I'm one of the regulars.
Yes.
Like,
and just to be able to sit with that. And like, so when you don't feel motivated or when you don't, whatever, it's like, not that guy is the important thing about it at all.
No,
it's just that notion of like, yeah, like, and maybe even for the first time, someone like seeing you, besides me, obviously, but like outside of that, right? Like seeing you in that light. And it not feeling like it was such a great compliment. Like when you told me the story, like it's such a great and beautiful thing because I feel like sometimes we have so many things we've talked about where people say things and they don't mean to
They
say
don't
it.
always mean them, but you're like kind of like,
Yeah, you're like, that's not, and I do want to talk about that too with like having experienced this because like, so like, I think that clients and stuff of mine and listeners have all kind of gone through this at some point where something's been said to them and it can completely derail them, right? Or it can completely throw them off. How did you feel like when there was a comment said to you or something that kind of took you back and you can think of one specific or just all of them in general, like what kind of got you to move past that, like to be like, no, actually I'm not gonna stop, or like I'm not, or you know what I mean, or not give into that, I guess.
I think the biggest thing is knowing like my why behind I'm doing this. It really has nothing to do with anybody else.
Yeah.
Like I know how this makes me feel. I know what it's about. My mindset's different.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to see more and more worth in myself, and I'm like, I mean, it's too bad you had to say some of those things.
Yeah.
And again, people don't always mean them negatively. Like the intention behind there is not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
But sometimes the way things come across, you're like, that was probably not cool. But
Yeah.
it also makes you, for me anyway, it makes me more aware of my words and how I say things to people in any situation because,
Right.
And you can't help it. Like sometimes you say things and people get offended for any number of reasons.
Right. Yeah.
But I think it helped. I'm somebody that thinks a lot anyway. I'm probably an overthinker and thinks a lot. But I definitely took the time to acknowledge like certain comments and stuff and just take a step back to say, okay, did that make me feel a certain way? Did that impact me? And if it did, why? Like, what's that why behind that? Where is that really coming from?
Yeah.
And then just remembering like what I'm fighting for, like what I want to do. And like you alluded to this earlier, but like you said, like I'm falling more and more in love with just movement and like doing this stuff where like I look forward to doing it. And not every day for sure. There's days where I'm like
not every day when you're walking in at 6 a.m.
for the love. But most days, more than that. I'm always grateful to be able to do it. Yeah. And I think part of that, even being like a nurse, like you see people at some of their worst moments. Yeah. And like people that have, were in a car accident and now are quadriplegics. Yeah. And cannot move and stuff that happens. And I think it's highly valuable to remember that
100%.
This is a gift.
Well, and you are naturally strong anyway. So for those listening, like, and you can see Katie on my Instagram and everything like that. But, but you have a strong frame. You can, lift more than the average, I would say, from what I've seen. And so it's been cool to watch you like grow into that and learn the proper form and learn the techniques and everything like that. But that farm girl strong.
That's right.
Hay bales.
Hay bales.
Oh my gosh.
All day.
Whatever. But seriously though, and so it's that's really, it's really special to watch you continue with that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that whenever you're training and everything like that, like. Is there any, do you have, negative voices? Like, in the beginning, I know you had negative voices kind of
for sure.
Being a gym. And anyone listening to this can probably understand that as well. Of, when you go to a new gym, you don't feel comfortable or you feel like maybe you're not comfortable in your clothes or people are watching you or they're saying something or whatever, all these things that we think about, as women and men do too, but, as women mainly, do you feel like those have been, kind of silenced? Do you feel like you still hear them? Is it more you need to do better, or is it more like you still hear other things?
I think I still hear some of the stuff. Mm-hmm. It's easier to shut it down. Yeah. Which is helpful. I'm probably hardest on myself. So that factor of does this equate that, you failed at something and so forth. And I think it's really, we've talked about this a lot, but that whole failure piece, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen a lot. I mean, in order to be successful, you have to fail.
Oh, yeah.
Over and over and over.
Yeah.
And probably over again. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to have those moments. So it's developing tools and being aware of it so that when that does happen, the reaction for it. So to simply answer your question, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, the voices still happen. I mean, I heard a lot of negative stuff growing up, and that just, I mean, when you're stewed in that, like, that's hard to like totally get rid of.
For sure.
And then I carried on with it. Like, I kind of took up the torch, if you will, and said, like, I'm agreeing with the lies that were said to me for so long, and now it's like, no, you know what? That's not true. So, but it's work, right? Like, it's the constant that work. But I don't know if they get less. They might just get quieter, or it's just easier to kind of shut the door on them.
Yeah. So that's something I've always said that is like quiet the nonsense. Like, and by saying that, like, it really, that's in turn, like, what I'm trying to explain to people is like quiet the nonsense, whether it's someone external, internal, whatever it might be, that negativity that just keeps sitting there and reminding you of like where you're, like where it thinks you are, or less than, or whatever, right? With the crazy stuff that we make up in our head that might not even, like,
for sure.
It's like when somebody's looking at you in the gym and you're like, what? And they're like, no, like, you look great. And you're like, oh, okay, thanks. You know what I mean? But
that's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I saw a video of that. That's why I was thinking about that the other day. So I was like, oh man. But yeah, and just getting away from that, because truly all that matters is how you see yourself. And, and that's such a beautiful thing, because it's like, with all of my clients, there's something beautiful to be seen, and I'm not just saying that because they're all listening to it right now, but you know what I mean?
No,
but like,
true.
but it is, and they have such great things. And I mean, you got to experience the other day with seeing Ashley, Lorraine, Amanda, like, all so different. All have been on this podcast, and told a little bit about their stories and things like that, and all have very different reasons for why they want to be strong, positive, more positive, and to be their best self. And so it is cool, because for sometimes for me, like, I get overwhelmed in the sense of like, I'll be like, man, I really hope that the mission, like, the people are seeing the mission, like they're understanding it, and then so anytime you ever say anything positive or send me a message, like, it really does mean a lot. And she sends me a lot of messages, so in like the best way is what I mean. Like to say those things, to be like, hey, well, like, this really meant a lot for me. Like, a lot of people don't take the time to do that, and I don't expect them to, whatever. Sure. But it is so great, after a long day or after whatever, to be reminded of that, versus like, sometimes you can feel, I don't know, like, I don't want to say like used, but like, because everybody's trying to like take a piece, or whatever.
It becomes more of just, I mean, it is a business, but like business transactional. But I don't know. That's maybe my mom and me, but I just feel grateful, man.
Yeah. And you put it in perspective too. And like you said about like with somebody who, that you saw has been in a car crash or something like that. Like, that's the thing, is that movement, people take it for granted all the time. Like, because they could like compare themselves to like the body size or what they used to do, or if they were an ex-athlete or whatever. And I'm like, bruh, like, you don't understand. Like, you're not in any pain. How's that life?
Yep.
Like, or, someone will get injured or say something like, oh man, I just don't know how I can keep on or whatever. And then like, I have that experience of being like, no, you can keep on. We just have to do it in different ways. Like, I don't run anymore.
Right.
But I sure do stairs on Stairmaster. You know what I mean? Like,
oh God, I hate to run. Yeah.
Right.
That's just me.
But no, it's not. I think a lot of people hate to run. So I ran from like at the Urban Sweat place or whatever, because it was so cold the other day. I ran from out like that to my car, which was like not even that far, 100 feet. I don't know. And I ran. I was like, well, that was unfortunate. Like, that was my legs like weird. I'm like,
am I running for the year?
Yeah, like I'm good here. Like, that was enough. I'd rather do thousands of stairs apparently. So
millions maybe, but
yeah. No, by this point, I tried to start to do the math, and I was like, no, like, let's not do that at this time, but like maybe a later time. So, I wish I was kind of like that, but I don't know. I kind of like, I do like the whole, like, have a number of like, okay, I'm gonna get to this floors, because it gets like a challenge and it gets exciting like that. Yeah. But like, when I get kind of overwhelmed at the sense of like, being like all of that in one, I don't know. Like, I've never been one to like count my steps though. I've never been one to, I'm just like, I have this timeline, I'm doing it, done. Like, I'm doing, I don't know. So I think that, and that's another thing too, that everyone's mind and everybody's so different, operates so different. So I try to meet you guys like where you're at, because like for me, that might not be my vibe, but like for you, you might really be like, no, I have to like do this amount of stairs and this amount of floors or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that so many times trainers cannot be like adaptable to their clients or like how, whatever it might be and stuff like that. Like, and it's just kind of like the same stuff like all the time. And
it's never the same.
Yeah.
Every session's different with you.
Yeah. And I think too, there's something to be said about like the basics. And we do a lot of like, with squat, deadlift, those things, especially like because bodybuilding like just preaches that, but again, it's having fun with it. And Sarah asked me the other day, she goes, little Sarah, she goes, cause she's like 5 foot tall, y'all. She said, what did she say? She was like, she looked at me, she goes to do something, and she's kind of like just like chill, real chill. And she goes,
even all the time.
She's like, so, do you just like make this up? And I was like, I just kind of looked at her like, can you elaborate? Like, when she's like, well, it's just like, you just like know like so much stuff. And then you just like know everything that I need for that day. And I was like, I want to say that that's experience, you know what I mean? But like, that's also just like, again, knowing where you're at and knowing your regimen, kind of knowing what you're doing when you're not with me, especially my people who do an online program or do that, I know what they're doing constantly, or they're sending me videos and that's why a lot of times, like, I'll be on my phone or whatever because somebody's asking a question about this or that or whatever. Yeah. But it's funny because she was like, yeah, it's interesting to look at that and look at a seasoned trainer and then look at someone that's maybe brand new to it or something or whatever. Yeah. In different styles and different structures. I'm like, everybody has their different vibes and stuff and different ways about doing things. But like, it was just funny when she said that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, this is just how I do it. And this is like, and I feel like it works great and everybody's seeing progress, whatever. And it's just like, no, I love it. And it was just so funny. But she was like, I'm really appreciative. And like she said that after, like, of how you do this. And that was really special, And I want more people to know that they can have fun with their, with their movement and with their plan and everything. So I feel like, so many people take it so seriously. And like, yes, there's a time for that, but it is about having fun. It's about being appreciative of your movement. It's about being appreciative of the journey, taking the pictures, looking at the videos, looking back at it, like, and just really relishing the fact that like your body can move and like not even know what it's capable of.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I started. I mean, I didn't post a lot on like Instagram and stuff. And I'm still learning Instagram. I mean,
hey, you're doing great. We have gone leaps and bounds. Like, oh, I mean, you just are, like.
I mean, this kid didn't know what a boomerang was like not that long ago, okay?
Didn't know
what can I say?
Was.
I'm old.
Now you're adding music on the stories. Now you're like,
you
you're resharing. And it's a whole new world. It's a whole new, now you know what shoddy. Like,
it's getting deep.
It's getting real deep. T-Pain.
Oh gosh. I mean, you don't. Yeah. But no. I mean, I do it for it's really great accountability. I think it's encouraging to see other people do it too, because you can see. Yeah. It's not even about like what they're doing. It's just be like, oh yeah, like all right, they did this. Like, yeah. Okay, I'm in. I'm feeling that.
Yeah. Because also too, because for anybody listening that maybe is wanting to work like with a trainer or whatever it is, or maybe let's say that they've tried a healthy lifestyle regimen before and they're just like, nah, I've been doing this, it didn't work or whatever. What would you say is the biggest like shift in like what you used to do before, what you tried before? Like why has this time kind of stuck? Because I mean, you've been a client, what we say, in like 9 months now?
Yeah, last June. So yeah, I mean, I can't do math obviously.
But, I can't either.
We'll but say it's ish.
9-ish months. Okay, so. But so with that, like, what would you say, has made it be sustainable? Is it because of like like having a trainer and the accountability? Do you feel like it's more the community? Do you feel like it's more the style of training? Like, what is it for you? That's been the biggest thing. All the above.
No, I mean, it's a whole thing what you do and what you offer to your clients. So. I think it's a little
party.
Bit. It's a little bit. It's a party.
It's a party.
It's a vibe, as the kids would say.
It's a vibe. Oh shoot, Katie. Okay, get it.
Oh god. Oh man. But no,
Shadi. She's going to listen to this and be like, I cannot.
I can't say that. It's so bad. No, I mean, it's a little bit of everything. I think it's, again, like, each session's different. I like that I'm not just, like, quote unquote, losing pounds, which I am, but I'm getting stronger at the same time.
Yes.
And so that I like a lot.
Yes.
To be like, all right, yeah, I'm losing some weight, but I'm also putting on muscle mass.
Help people understand when you say that, because that's the dream right there, okay? To be able to lose weight, feel better in your body, have a fun experience, but also feel stronger. So, AKA build muscle.
Yeah.
How has that been able to work for you? Like, what has been like, I guess, what are some things you've prioritized to make that happen besides just movement?
Well, I mean, movement's key
for
sure. So between the mixture of cardio, which I like the stairs as well, it's efficient and I like it a lot. So I do cardio 3 times a week, and then I see you 3 times a week. So do functional strength training.
Yep.
And then nutrition is huge. And for me, like I'm a foodie, right? Like, so I love food.
Yeah.
Like,
so you're not restricting. You're not.
No, not at all. There's not like you can only eat these 7 things. Because as soon as you tell me you can't do that, then I'm like,
exactly.
Where is it all? I'm eating it all. Right now.
Yeah.
So there's times where you plan for that, you allow for that, and there's still like intention and stuff behind it. But that's been huge. Yeah. And the more that you do it, the more it becomes. I don't want to say like easy, because it's always
routine.
Yeah, I think routine's the word.
Yeah.
It just becomes simpler. And then you kind of look forward to like, oh, like I know what I'm going to eat tonight for dinner. So I'm good.
Because it makes your life easier, essentially, right? Because you don't have to worry about, I got to find the next meal, or I went to bed starving and the next day I'm, at a Denny's having a buffet. You know what I mean? Like it really is like, again, it seems hard at first. And I'm sure in the beginning you were kind of like, okay, like, kind of taken in. But I think what was great about you is that you really took it one piece at a time. You didn't look at me and say, hey, I need like this strict diet because I need to lose this weight by this time. I'm going to rush and I got to do this. There was no like box that you presented, which was so cool, Well,
I think you've added on, not to interrupt you,
no, you're good.
But I think you've added on things that are like really good times. So there's like layers and layers and layers that you don't even realize what's going on.
Structure or a plan.
I know, it's like you know what you're doing.
It's crazy. Alert the media. Like, oh my gosh. No, but yes. And that's what I am like, as long as somebody just trusts the plan, it's when people get to the point where they're like, I don't know, they try to rush the plan, they try to rush the progress, or do it in a a bad way or something like that. Like, and that's why I do our consults and stuff, because I want to work with people that, again, you can only find out so much, via phone or Zoom or whatever. But, it is one of those things where you kind of get the vibe and you kind of understand where someone's coming from, what their intention is. This is so much bigger than just weight loss. This is so much bigger than just looking good for a man. This is so much bigger than just, you know what I mean? Like, being pretty, like.
And if you had, for sure, if you had added all these things at the very beginning, I just would have been overwhelmed.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, all right, but here's the 27,000 exercises we're gonna do, and you're gonna lift this much, and this looks like, and I've been like,
yes,
I would have been paralyzed.
It's a journey, it's a process, and everything like that, and so yeah, and it's been a beautiful one, and. I appreciate every time that we meet. Like, I love it. I'm not just saying that. Like, I wouldn't have had you on if I didn't think that. you know that. And so, but I just keep thinking about the alligator video. I just cannot. Like, man, I sent them this video, and it was like, it's like, tell me you're somebody's best friend. That tell me you're their best friend, and it looks like this alligator is like about to like eat this person, and then the other person jumps into the water and like smashes the alligator, and I'm like, yes, that's what, like, seriously, Saturday, that is what y'all, in my weird way of like representing, like showing up.
You jumped on the alligator.
You jumped, yes, like on the negativity, because think about it, like if I would have going on Broadway, first off, is a vulnerable state of mind, okay, because you got to be so forceful and so like, hey, I have like doing an interview. Basically, I walked up to these people that I didn't know. I'm like, hey, we're doing a video, a little interview, just to see what people are loving about their body, around Nashville. Like, what do you love about your body? And I asked it differently each time, but they were like, a lot of people sat there and said nothing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is exactly the issue. Like, this is exactly the problem. And so for me, it's like that was what was so great about it, because I knew that y'all were like running around doing the stickers and stuff like that. And like genuinely, I wasn't there, so correct me if I'm wrong, but genuinely like having fun.
Oh, we
like
did.
Putting out, but it wasn't like you're like putting stickers of my face around town or whatever, or like a naked picture, it was literally like and we've had those stickers, but like the outline, the silhouette, but we've had that, but it's like, with these, like, it just says, love your body. They're coral. Yeah. And then so if you see them around Nashville, by all means, take a picture, tag us, whatever.
But we went all around Nashville.
Yeah.
All over. You can find them all over. We crushed it, man.
Yeah. But like the QR code, it takes you right to this podcast. Mm-hmm. So, we want people to listen to the podcast. We see the value in it. We see, because again, this is a free way to help people. And, and y'all putting the stickers out was another way, to just like, again, what I was imagining was if back in the day when I drank and stuff like that, on so many nights that I cried or was upset or somebody made me feel some type of way or I felt less than or I'm sweating and I just feel gross and everybody else looks amazing and I'm just, whatever, right? And if I, especially if I was in college, because the schools around Nashville and stuff, if I would have seen a sticker that said love your body, I probably would have rolled my eyes, honestly, and then been like, but I would have thought about that sticker the next day or whenever, you know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure the first time you said that to me, I probably did roll my eyes. And then you get like punched in the face with that question, like, what do you love about your body? And it forces you to like really think about that.
Yeah.
And so even if in that moment they can't say anything, they're going to think about it.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I want, because I love, even was in school, like I love research, and like my whole like thesis in my communication studies program was like my final thesis was to like we interviewed single, dating, people who are like all these different things, but like basically like if you were in a relationship, if the person had a healthy lifestyle regimen, or if you did as well, or if like one didn't and one did, like the success rate of like how your relationships were going and like the longevity and all of that stuff. So I love that kind of thing, because there is a direct correlation to people who like worked out together, versus the one or the other, because it was always that the negative or the person that didn't work out what would bring the other person down is what we found. And again, this is on a college campus, so it's not, a renowned study, but it was the best that we could do at the time. But I love that stuff. So even like I could have, if I would have wrote down, which I kind of have said this before on the podcast too, but like if I would have wrote down what we found with that initiative, it's exactly what I would have thought. Mm-hmm. Like certain age women were like, oh, well, my husband loves, and then there was younger guys that were like, I don't have anything. Yeah. And then and there was guys that were like, you could tell how it worked out, and they were like, everything, And I was just like, okay, like, all right, like I see you. And then the girl that I told you about, who literally was like, I said, hey, what do you love about your body? And she said, my legs. She's like, I'm a power lifter. I back squat 250 and I'm strong as heck. Amazing.
That's awesome.
But again, there's a direct correlation with movement and positivity. And so and loving yourself. And so that's where it's like, that is the need and that's the missing link. And again, I'm not saying, because with you, for example, like when you said you first got it, I don't know what, I know, but you didn't share it on here, but like what happened in Texas or whatever that made you want to like start. So, but like, so let's say that the listeners are thinking, okay, that might've been a negative thing. So you've been using negativity to like push you.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Right. So, but like that's such a common thing. And I've talked about this too. It really doesn't matter how it started, you guys, whether it was because you were at your rock bottom like I was, sitting there eating a calzone, at like 12 or whatever on a Tuesday, and being like, wow, what is this, right? And like being so far gone, or if it was just like a positive thing where you're like, I just want to get healthy and I want to I feel best, and or whatever, right? Yeah. Like it doesn't have to be this negative thing, but like I guess help them to understand when they're continuing down this, like how do you stay positive? Like, is it the pictures you take? Is it you posting on Instagram that helps you? Like, is it just how you take affirmations? Like, what is something? Is it listening to an awesome podcast, while you're doing your
Couple of
9,000 stairs. Like what is it? Because you've seen progress. Like if it was up to you and maybe you've reached your goal of your first, weight loss goal or something, right? Like you're like, oh, I lost this. And so like you're good, right? Mm-hmm. What keeps you going? Like
I think it's become a relationship. Mm-hmm. So I'm, like in the beginning you kind of get excited, but you're also like nervous and you don't know if it's going to work out and all those things. And sometimes it doesn't and you quit on it and whatever. And now like I'm kind of over that, honeymoon, if you will, stage. And I really kind of like this person that's inside of me. And I really like what I'm doing and how it makes me feel. I mean, you and I talked about this, I don't think it was last week, but my energy level is so different.
Yeah.
And so I just feel better. And I know that I can feel better.
It's the fight.
It's the fight.
That too.
The fight helps.
The fight does help.
Always. But it's more than the fight, for sure. But I feel better. So you see things. I think what keeps me going is you see things like it was last May, like May 2021, and my sister and her family were down, and we went walking around Opryland.
Okay, yeah.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I don't think I even realized, but multiple times while they were here, like I was worn out walking around.
Yeah.
A hotel.
Okay.
Like, this is not that tough. I mean, there's some stairs in there and stuff, but like I should not be struggling like I was. Mm-hmm. And I still had a really good time, but like there were aspects of it that I know, like in my head, I was going like, man, Katie, like, not that I wanted to be done because I enjoyed every single minute of it, but there were still like, oh my gosh, are we going to do these flight of stairs too?
You had that worry in the back of your mind.
Like, am I going to be able to make it? Like, I'm over here huffing and puffing and whatever. And then they came back after I started working with you in the fall, and we went to Opryland again.
Okay.
And I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
And I don't think I even realized until after it was over that wasn't a consideration or a worry or like anything happening in my
right.
Going
because it
on
just becomes so natural. That's you.
It was just, I just felt better.
Yeah.
And so then I really got to enjoy and invest in those relationships and stuff. So I think it's realizing that there's so much more like potential of like what life can be, and just being able to like enjoy life and do the things you want to do, and just being able to see those kinds of things. And the community course helps, and like all the things help.
Yeah.
But it's really kind of like falling in love with what that lifestyle really looks like.
Well, and what you've just explained is freedom. Yeah. Like freedom to not have to worry about, well, when are we going to call it a day? Like, or, oh, my knees really bothering me. And I don't know if I can do this. Like all the excess worry and stuff that people don't even realize becomes a part and attached to their everyday lifestyle. Yeah. And it's like, until you've gone through injuries, stuff like that, or until you've been to a low point, like sometimes you can't even realize, right? Mm-hmm. But like, that's why I try to say, like, when you're having a good day, like, have a good day. Like, really capitalize on it. Don't second guess yourself. Like, go for it, because you're going to have those days that whether they're bad because other people or bad because your body feels off or whatever, it doesn't matter. But really capitalize on those days and just make the most of it. Because, like I said, even with my leg, like I can totally feel my leg right now. Like, don't know why, but like it's happening today, which is great, right? Yeah. And so it's like really capitalizing on today. And I was like, yeah, this is gonna be great. And podcasts and all this. But anyway, it just makes it. You just get hype. You get more excited about life because you are like, I remember those bad days. Yeah. And I know that everything I'm doing, the getting up, the doing the cardio, the doing the. The strength training, the getting stronger, the eating, all of it. Even though it would be maybe easier to eat some nonsense, you know what I mean? And like kind of power through the day or whatever.
You think about it that it is in that moment, but it really isn't.
Exactly. And it's changing the mindset of what is, and also having that, what's the word? Having that, I never want it to come off as, and I don't believe it does, but it's not about, I think a lot of people in the fitness industry make it seem like it's about being better than everyone else, or, you know what I mean? Like in their world. And so it's like, that it's not about that. It's just having what's the word I'm looking for? Like having a
confidence,
like, I guess confidence, but like, with your healthy lifestyle regimen, like, it's like you understanding that like, no, it's not that I'm better than you. I just choose to live a life that I feel like it provides freedom, is easier for me, is better, just, in general. Like, and I don't know, we've talked about like with dates and dating and
Lord, yeah. So it's a whole
and
other world.
and all those things of like, somebody who wants to go have Taco Bell every night at 10 o'clock. Like, again, no judgment to you, but that's not a vibe for me. And so that's not.
But it is interesting you say that because people do think, like, they kind of start to think that you're going to judge them.
Yeah.
Like, because there's people at work and stuff, they know I'm doing, like, I talk about it a lot because I'm excited about it and I'm feeling better and all those things. And so there's been people who are, like, grabbing lunch or whatever, and they're like, well, I mean, like, they explain to you that why they're eating what they're eating. And
yes.
I don't care what you can eat whatever you want. It's all good.
Exactly. But
you
know why they do that though. And we've talked about this before because it's it's kind of like when someone's doing on Instagram, like, oh, my hair just looks crazy today. But it's because when I say it, you can't judge me for that. Right. Or if I say it to you, well, this is why, and explain it. Like, it's not you can't judge me because I let you know, like, I'm still going to eat the Taco Bell, but there's a
I wouldn't have judged you before, and I'm not going to judge you now. That's not my character.
Exactly. But there's so many people and so many experiences like that, and that's why
so interesting.
Yes, and even like with the guys at the gym, like how I get so annoyed when they ask me about my food and stuff, and we've talked about this. It's so freaking annoying.
Ask her.
Like,
please.
But the smart ones know not to ask me. But again, guys, it's like, what are you waiting to hear? Like, what are you waiting for? Like, do you think it's going to be like if I said there were slices of pizza in there that I'm eating in front of my client versus regular, which is going to like lean ground beef and rice or whatever.
Right.
What's the difference? Do you you see? And again, it's like I think that genuinely just people just want to know and stuff. And I mean, I know that a lot of people, especially when I lost my weight, were like, well, what did you do? Whatever. And I was like, honestly, this is my relationship with food. Like this plan for me, like none of my clients eat how I eat. Like, I don't want you guys to. Like, you're on a different journey, to a different path. Like, and so
it's
when people were
everybody.
Yeah, and when people were like asking to like buy like they're like, oh, I'll pay you for it. I was like, I didn't ask you to pay me for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or like whatever. It's like, no, like, and so again, because it was done in steps too, just like how I have you guys do. Like, everything that I did in a realistic way is because I understood that like I wanted this to be a lifelong thing. So it was getting rid of slowly but surely like the alcohol, but then getting rid of the nonsense, or getting rid of the stressors that led to then having the bad things, right? So having to look outside of my healthy lifestyle regimen and the things around me, like what I am watching. Like, I try not to now watch like demonic things and stuff like that. Like, used to be, I just kind of didn't really care. And I was like, oh, that's a scary movie. But now I'm like, I'm okay. Like, I want to maybe have something else to watch. And then looking at it like, even with podcasts I listen to and like, and trying to keep those, beneficial and like, something I can learn from versus just kind of whatever. And so I don't know. So it just like all those things help to keep your mind right and help to keep you on that path and on that journey. And so again, I don't think it's to anyone's fault why people have learned to like explain these things and kind of over explain. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I feel like, I don't know, like that I under explain like on some things. Maybe you're like, no way. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I just assume people know like the vibe, they know the thing, they know the mission, they know whatever. So it's interesting because I'm like, I don't have to explain anything to you guys. But then it's like, no, sometimes I do have to take a step back and whatever. You know what I mean?
I think we're, at least most of the people that I know that like see you, we're pretty good at asking questions.
Yes.
But no, I think you explain often and you check in, like, have I talked about this? Or like, I mean, even for me, like, just even, okay, Katie, let's do, stand-ups. And I'm like, what the heck is that?
Right, yeah.
Like, at first, I'm like, I don't know what that means, Dani. And then you like say, all right, now we're going to do some kind of squat. And I was like, okay, I don't know what the difference between that is and a regular squat.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So but you explain all that and you demonstrate it and all those things too. But, yeah. And then your mission comes through in just every interaction. So,
yeah. Well, I love that. And I love that you're, like I said, so just now, I mean, like if you would have said to yourself, even I think, 3 months ago or 5 months ago or whatever, that you'd be like you said earlier, a regular in the gym. I mean, like, that's such a beautiful moment. Yeah, and it's something you're going to remember forever. And there are things like that like I still remember about my journey, especially even starting out, that like some of those beautiful moments, because a lot of the negative moments could just like overshadow and kind of, all of that. But are there any questions that you wanted to ask, like, I don't know, anything that I have not covered, or like, about like, I don't know, like anything that you're worried about, like with your healthy lifestyle journey, or anything that you've been thinking on, or anything like that, or? Because I know you hear me talk about a lot of stuff. Talk a lot about stuff about business, being an entrepreneur, like, with my journey.
That's always super intriguing. I mean, just the whole walk of, it's a whole different world. I mean, I've never done like entrepreneurial stuff, and I'm not sure I'm like you have to be like a visionary in some ways with stuff, and be willing to put in a lot of work.
Yeah. Do you think people don't realize that though?
I think they don't realize the level of what that really takes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's like we talked about, but like one of those, I think it's like a quote or something. They talk about how people, start to see you when you're successful, right? And they don't realize all the millions of hours you put in before that to become successful, to become Steve Jobs or to become the owner of Starbucks or whatever. Like they don't see what that took, and the no's and the being different and not just falling in suit with everything else. And I think that's something that with what you do is so rewarding to be a part of, and I feel so like honored to be a part of, because it is so different than what other people are doing. I
appreciate that so much. Like that literally, like that will never get old to hear, because it really, it's validating in a sense, like, because like I've told you before, like no matter if I have, nobody following or if I have millions of followers, like I'm always going to keep doing what I've been doing, because I know the value in it and I see that. But to have people that understand and like really get it, that's like the vibe. That is who I vibe with. That's who I want around, like that. And that's what Saturday, like people ask me how the weekend was. I was like, it's the best weekend I've had in a long time. Because it was, because it just was that vibe. Like it was that understanding of like, and it didn't feel like, I don't know. I've been so many circles where it's like, oh, you're too much. Or like, oh, Dani, like, or like rolling the eyes, or like, it's dramatic, or it's this or that or whatever, right? And always somehow been made to feel, try to be made, like people try to make me feel bad about something, or that I'm too this or too abrasive or too whatever. But that's like, again, I take my clients for where they're at, and it's a beautiful thing for them to take me where I'm at. And like, and us have that relationship. And that was so beautiful. So I really enjoyed that. And what you just said something about, like with being an entrepreneur, the stuff that people don't see behind the scenes, right? Sure. Well, that's also with a healthy lifestyle regimen. So like, even like I told you with my weight loss and stuff, that everyone was like, whoa, like everyone was so shook. And I was like, y'all saw me up in here at 4 a.m. sweating my ass off for like months, but you didn't say nothing, because why? There wasn't a visible change. So now there's a visible change. Now it's that's why I think different. Well, exactly. But that's why I think that I've been asked on other podcasts and stuff like, like, oh, well, you like kind of had snapped at somebody that like had commented on your whatever. I was like, yeah, because at some point it's like, why was that not mentioned beforehand? And it is, I know we're visual creatures and stuff like that, or whatever, but like you doing the stairs, and every time I get my notification of you like tagging me in, like, whatever, it's not like a, oh man, like Katie's so this now. And so it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, dang, she's working. And I can respect the work. I can respect that so much more than I can someone who maybe on the other hand is starving themselves, not eating right, or, trying to do this whole thing quickly or whatever, It's like, and that's what's special. So
I appreciate that a lot. No, I think, our society is pretty surface in a lot of ways. So I think there's depth to people, but like people are like so afraid to like open that up. And so,
but I think they have to be asked the right questions. So like with the love your body thing, it's like literally just if people would just ask the like these questions to get people thinking, because a lot of people are like, nope, it's about money, it's about sex, it's about this, about that, whatever, all these things. And it's like, okay, but like again, like take it at its root, like, do you love the person that you are? And I think I piss people off because I love so much who I am. And it's like, but again, for so long, I couldn't talk. I literally felt like I was being suffocated. Like, you know, and that I was alone in this journey, and I didn't have a group of people to like have accountability with, or anybody that really cared at all. I mean, just everybody in general, you know, and so it's like to see that with you guys and like to provide that and build that. That is what is like the game changer, you know, and that's why it's so cool. And it's like, because I've heard sometimes I'm like, man, like there's like maybe I should be further along or this or that or whatever, you know, these doubts sometimes that come in your head. And you know, you listen to people say, oh yeah, there's this community and that this person created and it's so great and whatever, all stuff. But I'm like, but it's still not this community. Like it's still, you know what I mean? Like they're like thousands of people in and whatever. And I'm like, cool, but like, did they go out on Broadway and go do like a Love Your Body initiative? Like
it's genuine connection.
Yeah.
We had this guy come up to us and we'd walking back and forth on the street on last Saturday, and all of a sudden he stopped us and he was like, "So which one of you is Dani?" And we're like, "Well, none of us really." And he's like, "Oh,"
but like, all of us. Oh my God! Didn't Ashley say she was though?
Ashley, a couple times she's handing out the stickers and she's like, "This is my podcast." I was like, "It's not your podcast." And she's like, "Well, I mean, no, it's funny, but
basically."
But he's like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "So you guys are out here promoting, you know, this podcast and stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. Like, we're all about, you know, loving your body and da da da." And he's like, "Oh," he's like, "So are you guys getting paid to be out here?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Oh,
paid in alpha cookies."
Always.
Yeah.
But he was like, "So you guys must really believe in being out here if you're spending your Saturday out here doing this." And all of us, we were like, "Absolutely. Like, we totally are in." And to me, that was beautiful because it was genuine, right? Like, we're like, absolutely. Like, we want to be here. We want to do this. And of course we had fun because, I mean, they're fun people.
Yeah,
too.
for sure.
So, it was just like one of those moments where like, okay, this is something to believe in, to be a part of, for sure. Yeah.
No, and oh my gosh, that makes my day. No, that was so special. And it can create that, you know, that true change. And I am so excited to see just what else can happen. You know what I mean? Like, because even from before to now, like I was thinking about it and just being like, man, so much has happened, but also so much is still to come, you know? And I have that feeling, but like you guys, like honestly, like representing that and being that, like it is incredible. Cause y'all could have come back and just be like, yeah, we passed stickers out and like, I mean, it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, and I've had people do, but like I've had people do that before, you know? And that's why I tried to be very clear with like, hey, here's the intention, like, here's what we're doing, you know? And like, you know, and everything like that. And all of the stickers we asked,
we did.
Permission.
We asked permission. Absolutely.
So nobody
I'm a rule
call us out on that.
Mostly, for the most part.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I feel that. I was like, yes, let's go. Like, crumb. And then I was like, no, let's please ask every
we asked
establishment.
Everywhere. Or it was in like public places where everybody had 14, million.
Yeah.
So we were good.
It worked out. But I know because somebody's thinking that, you know, they're like, Dani, I can't believe, like, you know, so I'm getting a message after this. I'm like, no, they did check it.
We
checked. It was all good.
But there's some good spots, man.
Yes. And that's what I'm telling people, like, take a picture, like, scan it, you know, subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already, like, you know, like, leave a 5-star review on this episode, like, all the things, like, because all of that, like, going back to you just, again, with the entrepreneurial thing, whatever, like, all of that makes a difference. Like, y'all resharing the videos and, like, you know, some people may be like, oh, I only have 100 followers, it doesn't matter. Or it's like, oh, whatever. But like, y'all are setting an example for the people you work with, for your families, for your, you know, whether it's a partner, whether it's a mom, dad, whoever, kids, everyone is seeing what y'all are doing. And it is changing the situation. And they're going to remember that when they start to doubt themselves or they get off their healthy lifestyle journey or want to get on it, they're going to reach out to you guys, you know? And that's where actually the mission is growing. And everything. So I am so thankful for you. I appreciate you coming on. And is there anything that you wanted to add, or anybody that may be listening that's like, man, I don't know if I should start my healthy lifestyle journey or anything like that? What would you kind of say to them to motivate them?
Start. They're worth the risk.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
And just start, right?
Yeah.
With anything.
Just start.
It can be, like I said, Katie, reached out, found a gym, found me, and that's how she got started. But again, going for a walk and making that your routine, and walking your dog or whatever, going to, even my Instagram and like messaging me about like, here's some workouts in the newsletter or like whatever, however we can help you, we want to be able to as possible. And like whether that is for motivation or that is just for inspiration or it actually is online training or one-on-one, whatever it is, guys, don't ever hesitate to reach out and ask, or even just let us know that this helped you in some way. And maybe you've been on the Stairmaster for an hour and you're like, man, this is a great podcast that's really helped me, like, because like that goes a long way. So sharing this, liking it, all those things are huge and really mean so much. So so I appreciate everyone that listens, that follows, and you guys are amazing. And thank you again, Katie, so much for coming on today.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, Dani.
Until next time.